yet. So today I'm so excited. I'm going to be joined by husband and wife duo, Navrup Kaur and Gurpreet Singh, also known as Sikh mum and Sikh dad. They have 4 gorgeous, gorgeous children. They've very recently given birth to Sahib Singh. And I thought it would be really great to talk about managing children and keeping calm during this lockdown and in general. And honestly, these guys, I know we only get to see a snippet of real life on Instagram, but I just love the way they parent. So I'm really excited to, I've just added them in today. Added them in now, sorry, not today. Hi, Vijay Benji, how are you? Bye, Guji. I'm good, how are you? How are you guys?
Good. Doing good.
Good. Where are the kids?
We locked them in,
Is that the secret? Oh, how are you guys doing with the four of them?
I think we're still adjusting, and everybody's still getting to know each other and the new dynamic of being a Six household. But it's been not too bad. Like I posted the other day, I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be a lot worse than it actually is. So. Yeah, what do you think?
I just think it's amazing. Like, honestly, since Sahib Singh's come, it just feels like this is just the way your family's always been. I mean, I'm sure it feels different living there, but it just feels like he's always been there. It just...
You know what? It's so amazing you said that, because when I had Gurpreet Singh, lliterally straight after my sister, who I'm extremely close with, you share a lot of tendencies. Yeah. She said to me, you're going to have another one. And she was just like, straight away. And I was just like, get out of my house.
No chance. Oh, it's amazing. How are you finding it, BG?
To be honest, somebody actually asked me today, and they said, how is it being a father of 4? And I said, it's the same as being a father of 3, but just one more. But what we're finding differently this time is, so with the girls, they were 5 years apart. So Mansimra's 5 years older than Gurleen. So when Gurleen was born, we had the more emotional side to deal with, because Mansimra was the only child. And this time now, obviously, with Sahib and Gobind Singh, we've got 2 under 2s. So it's the physical demands that we're dealing with. So it's a total, different ball game. So it's new for us. Yeah. So after being parents for 10, 11 years, it's it's brand new for us.
Yeah.
And I guess every child is different as well, isn't it? So they all have different personalities and different emotions, and they process things differently. How is Gobind Singh taken to having another baby in the house? Well, he's a toddler now, but to having a baby house.
So with him, it started off in stages. So it was the kind of pointing first, then it was like the poking. And then it's like full on pressure and like trying to
grab him.
Baby attack.
He loves it. There is a little bit of so we've caught him trying to bite him a few times, and sometimes he's hitting. But with Gurpreet Singh, he's quite he likes to watch a lot of Gatka videos, and so he's quite, I'd say, violent child. Like he's got very boyish tendencies. So sometimes we'll just see him just going for him with a whack, and we have to kind of intervene. So our reflexes are always.
He's very good with his feet as well. He does that.
So he's on high alert. Yeah, I guess to be fair though, even with Sarjan and Arjun, even though there's like a 2.5 year gap, sometimes I do notice, like when Arjun's getting a bit frustrated, there might be the odd elbow, and I'm like, I saw that. You're back off. I guess all children kind of have their, I don't know, I think with Arjun and Sarjan, I think Arjun really feels that Sarjan gets away with a lot. And I think it's, you expect a certain level of, I don't know, maturity from the older children. And I think sometimes... I think...
The dynamic with Mansimra and Gurleen, I would say, is very similar to what you're describing, because Mansimra, she feels that Gurleen gets away with a lot, But the thing is, there's so many other factors to Gurleen, like her health since she was born has not been great. So she's suffered in that way a lot. And so I think a lot of people in the family kind of let her off a lot, like the grandparents, because of that. And she sees that, and then she always, you know, she's quite a sensitive child, so she'll always be saying to us she gets away with everything. But, you know, we try our best to discipline her, but with her personality, she's the type of person that we need to approach kind of a bit more of a loving and caring approach with her, as opposed to
so many times you've posted things and literally I'm like, oh my gosh, that could be written about Arjun. Like, he's such a lovely boy and he's very sweet, but he is just so emotional. He's very sensitive. You say anything to him and the reaction is really big, like quite dramatic. And it's like, oh, whoa, like his reaction literally to tell him, Arjun, should we let Sergeant watch an episode of Pepper because you've watched 10 episodes of How to Train a Dragon or whatever? And it will be like, you always let Sergeant watch whatever he wants, and it will just be really emotionally charged. And it will be all these other things that come out. Like, you never tell him off. You know, he was naughty this morning, and how comes he's still allowed to watch it? I want to leave this house. I'm going. And I'm like, oh my gosh, chill out. It's very emotionally charged.
Yeah, I always say to Gurpreet, you know, this is the reaction that I've had today to this, really small. And I'll always kind of say, should I be worried? Because it's such a huge reaction. And I'm always quite worried that, you know, maybe it's too much of a reaction. But
same.
At the same time, and when I was saying, it feels a lot worse now. And so, but then I have to think to myself, right, we are not living what is normal to our kids at the moment. So, you know, they're not getting the interactions they normally get. They're not getting the release they normally get in schools and clubs and things like that, with their grandparents even. So we have to take...
Definitely. I mean, I literally panic. I get so stressed out. And I think especially now, because as you said, this isn't, you know, we're kind of all living in each other's pockets day in, day out. And sometimes my tolerance isn't quite there either. I find it really hard to just zip it, or just, I'll end up kind of stooping to his level and talking back like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not a child. Like, you know, you've got to model the right behavior to him, but I just cannot keep my cool always. And then I feel really bad afterwards, but then I'm just like, it's like he'll test, push, especially at bedtime. That's a prime example. It will just be like, but I wanted to do this with you and Daddy. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like 9 o'clock now. It's time to go to sleep. But you said that we could do this. And I didn't say it like that. I actually said that, no, you didn't. Now you're lying to me. And I'm like, oh my God, does he genuinely think I'm lying to him? Or is he doing this to play me? And literally, just like you, Benji, sometimes I'm just like, is there something not right? Like, why is he so dramatic? But then it makes me feel better that, you know, it's not just Arjun. I think there are other children. He's very emotional in terms of when he gets angry, but he's also very loving and affectionate. So it's kind of...
That's why I get worried, because I always say there's like, I see both sides of the spectrum with her. And I always say either really great and really brilliant in so many ways, so loving and caring and helpful, and then it's just like this outburst of emotion, and it's just crazy how, like, you know, like she goes from 0 to 100. But the bedtime I can totally relate to, because at bedtime all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm just gonna say good night to Sahib. I forgot to say, I need to say good night to the morning now. And anything to keep her downstairs or, you know, in her bed. That is what happens at that time. So, yeah.
But you know, even when... Go on, Vijay.
So I was going to say, she is exactly like that. One extreme to another, and nothing in between at all. That dynamic in our family, because of her, is amazing, and that's why we've got balance, because she is just such a character. And the thing is, we know that because we live with her, but other people that just kind of said, like you said, see a glimpse of our life and see her out and about, they just know exactly what she's about when they see her.
At the same time, I always say to Gurpreet, like, with that type of personality where she is very boisterous, she's very opinionated, has her own mind, and if she wants to do something, to do it. I don't want to curb it too much, because those are the types of characters and those are the types of personalities that change the world. You know, they're the ones that stand up and make change. And so I don't want her to feel restricted in any type of way, because who knows what potentially we could be restraining her from achieving.
Other people have said that to us as well. They've observed that and they've said, look, you just need to channel her emotions in the right way and she can do exactly that.
Yeah. That's the challenge though, isn't it? It's just not knowing what to do with that sort of, I don't know. And children, it's so interesting. They're so unreasonable because they can only see things from their point of view. So Arjun, if you try and suggest something to him, explain it to him, you know. So this is a typical example. He's downstairs. They're playing with Hot Wheels and Sergeant took a car. It was just lying in a pile. And Arjun came and I saw him and he took it off him. And normally he's brilliant with him. And I'm like, Sergeant started crying. And I said, Arjun, why? You've taken 3 cars. Why not just give him? That's not fair. No, he always gets everything. And I'm like, but he had it first. No, I never get to play with anything. And I'm just like, oh my goodness me. Like, I don't know how to even balancing. I don't even know how to stay calm with you right now, but those are the kinds of things that we kind of deal with often. Or he's really great with him. Yeah. I need to be with Sergeant. I don't want to. Anytime he has a disagreement with Breetham and I, even if it's because of Sergeant, he's like, I'm going to live in another house and Sergeant's coming with me. Can you just drop us? Would you want us to drop you? But he's how do you guys, what do you do when there is like, how do you channel her and her emotions, and how do you kind of deal with it, and how do you stay calm? That's the bit I struggle with.
So usually, like say for example, in this time frame at the moment where we're home learning with the kids, I'm the one who's kind of spending the most time with Gurleen, and so we separate ourselves from where Mansimmer is, because they're really at loggerheads at the moment, and so I'll spend the most time with her. So I know that if I'm getting to a point with her where she's about to explode, that's how we always, first of all, in the beginning, when we realised that Gurleen had these tendencies, we kind of tried to figure out if there was a pattern to when an explosion was coming, and we realised it was when she was sleep deprived, when she was hungry, when she just needed a hug or some affection or some attention, but also because of her health, it was when her health wasn't great. So if she was struggling with her hay fever or her eczema and her skin was bleeding, or she had been up all night with that or something like that. Once we kind of got our head around that, it kind of, we realised the other triggers is more about action for her. So when she goes to my in-laws, or she goes to my parents, she gets whatever she wants. Yeah. For most grandchildren. Yeah. But when she comes home, you know, my mum and dad only have to deal with Mansimmer and her, really. And Mansimmer kind of just gets on with her own thing. Yeah. So with Gurleen, she's kind of got them at her beck and call. When we're here, we're dealing with 4 other people. Yeah. So it's harder for her to adjust. So in this time, she loves when she's getting that one-on-one with me. But then there's times where I need to leave the room to maybe go and make a coffee, or I want to go and do some washing while she's doing her work. Yeah. And I can hear her kind of going, I need you to come back. I need this. I want this. And I can see that she's trying to. And then Gurpreet at that point will basically have to come and intervene if I can't bring her down off the ledge, basically, then Gurpreet will intervene. So that is the biggest tip that I would have to say that has worked for us, that the tag team, because if he knows that I'm about to explode, I'm, like you said, I do go down to her level, and I do start to say, well, no, and I don't compromise with her, which is my job. I'm meant to be trying to be the one to compromise. Usually I'm quite good at it. Today we've had a fantastic day. You know, and I've compromised so much. She's not even gone near to the edge today, which is really good. Although she did want to join this live.
She's so funny. I love her.
She had actually. I'm gonna post it after this, but you'll see how she had set up her own live She's going to join us.
She can have her own thought.
Yeah. So in that scenario, what will happen is Gurpreet will take over. And then he will either take her out of the room. He will then talk to her really calmly because he's calm. He's not been there the last 15 minutes. Yeah. Going like this to boiling point like I am. So that change has a huge impact. But when I'm on my own, then it literally is just about me really talking to her. Today I did this exercise in our mindfulness class where I was trying to do getting her to look at me in the eyes, because I noticed sometimes when she gets really, really stressed, she doesn't look anybody in the eyes. And so I said to her, let's practice looking each other in the eyes. And so she just couldn't do it. She could not look me in the eyes.
Comfortable, maybe.
Yeah. And so I said to her, you know what? Okay, don't think about anything. Just tell me what colour Mummy's eyes are. Just have a look at describe Mummy's eyes. And then she was saying, this bit's white. You've got all these red bits here. You've got black stuff under here.
We've lost frozen. Hello. Sorry, guys, I lost you there. I don't know what happened.
What I was going to say was that I think that we've kind of learned from our lessons as well with her in terms of, we've tried everything else. So we've got angry with her, we've shouted at her, we've, tried to discipline her in many ways, and it just doesn't work.
No.
That type of personality where, obviously we get frustrated, etc. But, we've just had to manage it that way in terms of, like I said, going down to her level, talking to her, but also as well, because, if they've done something once or twice, immediately you can make an assumption and fly off the handle without finding out exactly what's happened as well. So there's times when Mansimah's provoked her, and she's that type of personality where she just, you poke at her and then she's going to go for you.
Yeah.
So we've had to, investigate what's going on. And what happens is as well, when we're trying to do that and find out exactly what's going on, Mansimah's then saying that, I'm upset because she's hit me, or you're not taking, any action. So it's kind of like, hey, I'm sure you know.
Do you know, that reminds me of my sisters and I. That's exactly what we were like growing up. And we all had such different personalities, especially the twins. One was, fought with her mouth a little bit, like, she'll kind of verbalize it straight away. And the other one was quite sneaky. She'd kind of elbow quietly. And then, her would have the big reaction and she'd get told off because she's the one that's just made all this noise. But I think that happens in our house as well, because Sergeant, like Gurleen, obviously, he gets away with absolutely everything. I mean, I try and discipline him, to be honest, but Gurpreet is just so soft with Sergeant. It's crazy. Like, he can do no wrong. Yeah. And he'll get really frustrated. Arjun he just has this assumption that he's got it in his brain that basically Sergeant, he feels very kind of hard done by, in any situation. That's his go-to line. But I really struggle with him in terms of, so this weekend he was absolutely amazing. Amazing. He woke up.
When you have that time.
Yeah, he was just he literally woke up and he was like, Mummy, I want to sort out Sergeant's room. And I was like, okay, why don't you sort out your own room first? But I thought, okay, fine, I'll sort out Sergeant's room. I let him do whatever he wanted because he was doing it from a place of love. I didn't necessarily agree with what he was doing, but I let him do it. And then he was just like, he got into Sergeant's cot, he made his bed, and then he got the, there's a little, the My First Step book, and he put it by his pillow, and it was really sweet. And then he was like, I need to sort my room out now. I'm like, okay, you sort your room out. He was really on a roll. He was just going for it. And I was like, Arjun, I'm so proud of you. I'm very vocal when it comes to praise with him because I know he thrives off it.
Yeah.
Who doesn't, right? Everybody loves praise. Whereas Breatham's quite quiet. So our parenting styles are very different. Yeah. And sometimes I always think it's really good to have a good cop, bad cop, because I think children need that balance, don't they? They need to feel safe. They need to have sort of, that balance. But he's just, I can't even remember what I was just saying.
He's not very vocal.
Yeah, Breatham's not very vocal, but Arjun was just so charged by that. He was so excited. And then the next morning, woke up again, same thing. And I've noticed that if they don't have TV until later on in the day, Arjun's behavior is so much better. The moment that screen goes on, it just goes downhill. It's like one more episode. And it's just like, oh my gosh, come on. And I just don't have the energy to always deal with it. And the more TV he watches, the more he kind of, goes into this trance. Yeah. But it's just so difficult to, especially now with managing work and, home and just having a little bit of time, quiet time. It's really tough knowing what the right thing to do is or how to, and I'll be honest with you, we started off really well with the home learning thing. And then my work got really busy and it was just really difficult trying to do both. And he just does not like literacy. He doesn't like writing. He doesn't like reading. He's okay with numbers. And honestly, I'm like, okay, let's set you up an email address. Let's email your friends. And then when he realized why and what he had to do with the email address, he was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to write. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've tried everything. And then, when you get to a point where you're just like, where I'm locking horns with you every single day because I'm getting frustrated. I'm feeling like I'm not doing enough for you as a mother. Yeah. By enforcing this kind of, educational setting here. And I just, but then it's not helping our relationship and it's not really getting the best out. He's just walking around frustrated and angry with the world because he just doesn't want to write and he just doesn't want to read.
Benji, have you thought about not doing like home learning every day, like having home learning then one day off, then home learning then one day off?
I'll be honest with you, it's definitely not been 50-50. I'll be really lucky if he studies like 3 days in the week, and that's literally getting him to read a book, and he will take about an hour to read one book because he'll read a sentence, start faffing about. And it's like, the more he does it, I'm just like, ah!
You know what? You know what? That is just like Grenene. But I sit on the governors at the kids' school.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation when I think it was about a week and a half into home learning when lockdown had started. And I spoke to the head teacher and he was saying, look, there's some children that will comply and they will follow home learning schedules at home, but there's some that won't. And I said, what would you say to those that don't? Like, because I said, I'm not there yet, but if I get there, I need to know.
Yeah.
He said, if they don't want to read, just read to them. If they don't want to do maths or they don't want to do some sort of, numeral work, then you just like do something fun, like play shops with them. It doesn't have to be for a long period of time. He said just do a little bit in the morning with them. And he said, and then just let them chill out. But as long as they're doing a little bit every day, that should be. But he said just the main thing I would say, just generally anyway, Benji, is that as long as they're keeping some sort of schedule, like waking up in the morning as a basic and a set time to wake up and get going for the day and a set time to go to bed, I think that is the key, because there's talk that kids won't go back to school until, could be potentially in January. And and that is a very, very long time for for children not to have a routine.
Yeah.
And, there are some, deprived children out there that aren't getting any sort of routine, and they literally are getting no attention and they're getting no schooling and then they're getting no stimulation. And for them, he was saying it's going to be very hard for them to go back into some sort of schooling routine. So as long as they're getting up in the morning at a set time, going to bed at a set time, and they're having meals at a set time, that should be enough for their body to be able to cope going back to school. And all schools are going to be following some sort of system where they're going to be doing a bit of catch up for all children.
Yeah.
So, don't be too hard on yourself. And all the mums out there, don't be hard on yourself, because I was saying to Gurpreet last night, I said, can I have a chat with you? And he was like, oh, what now? And I said, look, you get to sit at your desk, and although you are working from home, you are getting a bit of downtime. With me, I'm not absolutely no downtime. You can take the 3 kids, I've still got another one attached to my boob all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting no downtime. So maybe there's nothing you can do about it right now, but I need you to know where I am. And so,
what did I say to you? I said,
go and clean the kitchen.
Yes. I said, you said things were going great. You were loving it. What's happened now?
I am loving it.
Why do you think you're saying? Do you not find that every week is different? Like, I found, because we sort of pulled Arjun out and Sarjan out a little bit earlier than everybody else. And, you know, the first week, second week, we were raring to go. And then the third week, I started feeling a little bit low. And then that kind of, you know, rubbed off onto them. Work was just, you know, I've still got to do my job. And then fourth, I don't even know what week we're in now, but it's kind of just, now I've just said to myself, I think Nisha's just said as well that just scrap the timetable, and as of today, I have 2 things I want to achieve with them each day. And I think that's what I'm kind of trying to say to myself, like, if you just read one book and you write 3 sentences, and
happy, yeah.
I'm happy with that. And you just do, you know, some sort of maths game. I'm happy with that. You're still not having the TV on till after 4 o'clock. They will spend ages in the garden playing with the guinea pig, which is great.
Thank God.
I'm just. Yeah, gosh, the one that was. Thank God we got him back. God, do you know what a drama? I was so mad that day, honestly. I said to him, so he walked. This is Arjun all over, right? He walked in, and him and Sarjan had been going around in the garden with Charlie in their boot of their little car. And I said, Arjun, where is Charlie? And he said, he's in my car outside. I said, okay. I said, don't you think you should bring him in because he can jump out of the boot? No, he can't. You don't know anything about guinea pigs. You don't even like him. Okay. So then he goes out to check. And of course, Charlie was gone. Oh my gosh. That boy was hysterical. I think we tried to find him about an hour. And he was like, Mummy, I'm so sorry. I never want to get another small pet again. I just don't know how to look after them. I can't believe this is happening. Charlie, so upset. And I'm like trying to deal with work, you know, it's month end. I've got so much to do. I'm thinking, why can't you just listen to me? Why do you just not listen?
But it's Gurleen through and through.
Oh my God.
When I heard your story, I know it must have been absolutely mortifying for him. Bless him. But I just couldn't stop creasing up.
You had to be there. I mean, I nearly started crying because I felt really. The first guinea pig, the way he died, that was really sad because it happened in front of Arjun, and then trying to explain the concept of death, and I cried then. I'm not very keen on guinea pigs. You probably caught that. But yeah, I was just like, why do you just not listen? Like, why do you not just trust what Mummy said? We found him after an hour, thankfully. But my goodness, they spend a lot of time with him in the garden. I mean, heaven forbid we lose him.
Even those life skills that you're giving them, you've been doing baking, with them, things like that. I mean, Mansimra's baking skills have gone like, I don't know, they've literally, I don't know where she just become, her confidence level in the kitchen has just gone through the roof. And so sometimes, you know, you have to do what works for you. With me, I'm a schedule person. I need to stick to a schedule. Even just before the live now, I need half an hour to get their schedule for tomorrow ready, so I know what they're doing and print their worksheets and everything they're going to be doing. But for some people, that's necessarily not really going to work. And even depending on how they're feeling and how the day is going, and if it's a nice day outside, then I'll just, you know, kind of just be really lax with it. But I think as mums, as parents, this is unprecedented times. We have absolutely no idea what's going on and what's going to happen. So we need to just go with the flow, not put too much pressure on ourselves. Whatever is happening within God's will. And we need to just be fine that our children are from loving homes. They've got a roof over their head. You know, they're happy and they're loved. And, you know, education and academia is not the be all and end all.
Be all and end all, absolutely.
Especially at this age as well. I know some people will say...
I just worry that I don't want to kind of let him slip or anything, but it's like this morning, actually, we're really, really grateful that there's a lady that follows the blog, and she really kindly messaged after my kind of stressful period that I had last week, saying that, look, I'm a secondary school teacher and I will tutor Arjun on over Skype or Zoom or whatever for you for a couple of hours. So she did this morning, and literally it just felt so. He was arguing even with her. It's just like, I don't want to do any more writing. She was, but the thing is, with somebody else, he did a lot more than he does with me, and so I was really grateful for that. But it was just like, come on, Arjun. But the whole thing about the bedtime and waking up on time, even that's gone out the window here, Benji, and I'm really struggling with that because, you know, normally we try and get them to bed by 8ish, 8:30, and now he is just, I don't know, it's not just his fault. I think obviously we're the parents and it is up to us to drive that, and he is going to keep testing and pushing and pushing. And even Sergeant will go to sleep if you put him to sleep at 7:30. He will fall asleep and he's done. But with Arjun, it's just, we got him upstairs at 8 yesterday. He didn't actually fall asleep till 10. There was a couple of tantrums in the middle. We probably read about 50 books. I'm not even lying to you, but fine. But I was adamant that TV is not going on. You need to understand that, and you need to understand that. And he says to Preetham, he says, oh, Mummy tells me off a lot, but I know she tells me off for the right reasons. So he does get it. He gets it. Whereas with Preetham, when Preetham on the odd occasion tells him off, I think he thinks it's really mean. But with me, he seems to understand that. Yeah, it's coming from a place of,
you're not the only one with the bedtime. I mean, even here, our bedtime routine is gone. And the thing with I say to them is, if you don't go to bed when you need to go to bed, you are still doing the schedule. You are still getting up and getting ready, and you have to be ready to start school at 9 o'clock. As long as you can do that, you know, then, and with Gurleen, obviously being the personality she is, she'll be like, okay, you know, and it won't affect her. Mansima, she'll go up. We send her up, she'll go up. Saying that, we can send her up, and then we'll go up 2 or 3 hours later, and she's still sitting in bed reading Harry Potter.
Oh, that's a nice thing, though.
Sorry?
At least she's doing something productive. She's not. Yeah, she's doing something productive.
Teachers say that to us all the time, but I'm like, no, I want her to go to bed.
But at least she's got the passion for reading.
Yeah,
that's important, that we don't curb it. But what we were saying before about the sleep times and everything like that, because obviously we've been relaxed as well over the so-called Easter holidays, right?
Yeah.
As well, and going to sleep at all times and etc. But obviously, like we don't know, like you were saying, how long this is going to last for. If it's another 5 weeks, or if it's however long it is. What we don't want is for the time to just pass us by. And God forbid, nobody wants what's going on at the moment, and there's some really bad things going on with people's families, etc., loved ones, and what. But this time, we're not going to get that back again. Like this, so we don't want it to just pass us by, and it be like, we tried to do this and this happened and what have you. You want to have the memories and like like you're saying, it's we are not school teachers. Our house is not, and it can become very overwhelming because there's so many resources out there, and you're flooded with messages and things like that. And you can think, I need to do this, and where do I start, and all this kind of stuff as well. And like you guys were saying, it's just about keeping it simple and trying to maintain their levels and keeping them in that routine.
Yeah. At the same time, it's, like you can see sometimes, Instagram and social media is not reality. And sometimes, people are perceiving, that everything's going fantastic for them, and which brings on guilt for you, because then you feel to yourself that, oh, well, why is my schedule not running like the other people? Why are my children not happy every time I want to take a snap, or, but that, we have to just remember, everybody's situation is completely different, and the reality is that our children are all different, like you said. When you were saying like about the boys being so different from one another, I mean, I used to say to Gurpreet all the time, I did everything exactly the same with Gurleen that I did with Mansima. How come Mansima's so calm and Gurleen is a firecracker? And he always used to say, they're different souls. They're different souls. Who knows where they've come from? Who knows what they've experienced? And so we have to think about that all the time. And I just feel Gurpreet works in mental health, and it's concerning the effect that this situation is happening generally on the world and their mental health. But mothers I worry about a lot, because there's so much on their shoulders at the moment, and how, the anxiety that we feel anyway, and the guilt that I always say, as you know, the one thing all the mothers have in common that I speak to through Sikh Mum is we all love our children, but we all are riddled with guilt that we're not good enough. And so that, if we've already got that, imagine what we must be feeling now,
Right now, yeah.
So I think I've come to a place where I'm kind of a bit like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I was so worried about Simmer. She was meant to be starting secondary school. She was even sometimes, she gets really upset and says, I was planning, this at the end of my school year. She's actually had a fantastic, primary experience. And so for her to leave the way she's leave and all the years out there, it's really a lot for them to take mentally.
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's hard enough dealing with change, let alone having that kind of, I don't know, nice closure or finish to, all these years that you've been there. Yes. And I think while we've got our Arjuns and our Gurleens, the other children, sometimes balancing your time between all the kids without giving the attention to the one that's shouting the loudest, that is such a challenge as well. Arjun's so chilled out. He's so easygoing. He's just like, whatever, he's just so chilled out most of the time. And and he's just, honestly, what's so interesting was I've done nothing. I actually do feel really bad. I've done nothing with him at all. But somehow, through just being at home and playing with Arjun and just messing around in the garden, he's learned to say so many new words. And just now downstairs, so he started saying, we do our Mool Mantar in the morning, so he can now say Ikkankar. He says it himself. And then just now, just before I came up, actually, he just came and said, I did Reras, and then he was sitting there and he put his hands together, and he was saying Ikkankar, and then he said Gurprasad as well, like he mumbled, and I just thought, my gosh, you know what, for me, okay, I haven't sat down and taught him his colours and his shapes and all of that. I need to get on to doing that. But for me, that's such a massive thing. And it's because I can really appreciate it with him. And poor Arjun's probably learned so many things during this time, but I've kind of overlooked them because I've taken them for granted. But it's just, I feel bad for even Sarjan, because like I said, it's that whole giving more attention to the child. And every family has it. I mean, when we were growing up, there was always one of us that needed a little bit more, she had a similar personality to Arjun. She still has that personality to Arjun and Gurleen. So she needed that kind of, extra focus or whatever. And it's fine. But it's just making sure that it's tough, isn't it? Managing and balancing and making sure.
There's such a thing as balance, though, as well. We have to try to think, because we all talk about balance with our kids all the time. And we talk to other parents about balance, and we use that. Are we doing the right thing? Like you said, TV, etc., screen time, balance, all sorts of things. But everyone's got a totally different dynamic and situation in their house. There's no one size fits all with it. So what works in our house, your house, vice versa. And we always have to remember that. And that's what you're saying about social media and stuff like that. And what we see going on somewhere else may not necessarily work for us. And that's not a bad thing. So we always need to be conscious of that.
Yeah. What you're saying about the boys, I feel that with some of the children's in the pregnancy, I was able to do a lot more, practicing Sikhi a lot more, doing a lot more part and things like that. And with some of them I haven't. That's caused a lot of guilt. But then when I look at Guruji's given this time now, like you're talking about, you haven't taught him his shapes, you haven't taught him whatever, but you stand around and said Guru Prasad, you literally feel like he's been given the biggest teaching now already. And it is Guru Prasad. What is he saying? Saying that is Guru Prasad, So with my experience of that is that in this time, Mansimmer obviously was our only child for 5 years, and every night I used to tell her Sikhis. I used to sit at the end of her bed. Every day was about something Sikhi, every day. And talking about her dastar every day. And I always said to Gurpreet, before I came into Sikhi, I used to go like clubbing and stuff, and when I go with like my cousins and stuff, they would always be out looking for the kind of wrong type of attention, and I used to just go for a boogie, really. And when I come into Sikhi, and I remember saying to my dad, you know what, when I used to go out like that, Dad, I never used to go out for male attention. And I realise now it's because you always gave me the attention I needed. When I used to come downstairs, Dad used to say, you look so lovely. Oh, earrings on today when I wore earrings. So he used to notice those little things. So I used to go to Gurpreet, I want you to do that for the girls. I want you to consciously give them that positive attention from a male so they don't seek it elsewhere when they're older. Yeah. That gap. And so with the girls now, I feel like with Gurleen, she seeks attention, but she seeks the attention that Mansimmer got that she didn't get. So it's in the wrong way. So she goes about it. So she's looking for attention, but she's looking for any kind of attention equals attention. Yeah. So in this time now, I've been giving her attention, but in the morning, in part of our schedule is, I'll do Japji Sahib with her, and so we've been in lockdown for like 2 or 3 weeks now. She's basically got up to body nailed.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I said to Gurpreet, because her teacher told us that she's got issues with her memory where she doesn't remember as quick as other children. Yeah. We have learned, but in this time, just through time with me, at home, repetition, she has just picked up so much Sikhi stuff. And for me, like you, that feels like it's priceless.
It is priceless.
And because I know that having a sense of spirituality and embedding that at a young age for lifetimes, literally. So, I don't know, for me, I just feel like, okay, if I don't get to do a little bit of maths with her, which I didn't today, I was meant to do addition, but I didn't. In the end, we ended up talking about Vasaki again. For me, I just thought that was a win.
Because she's not gonna get that when she's in school, so why not use that opportunity now? And if she's interested in it, really build on that. And that same on Vasaki this year, it was my goal to make it a really big thing at home. And Sarjan's a lot more interested in Sikhi than Arjun is for, I don't know, whatever reason. But,
he is.
Yeah, and even with that, I just have to be quite patient. But he asks for Kirtan Sahela every night because he's scared of bad dreams. Yeah. So his motive is that. But he
still associates Bard with protection.
Yeah, exactly.
So that growth is there. That kind of growth and with that connection with God is there, because he knows that if I do this, then God will protect me from this. So he understands that, and
he understands it. Yeah, whether he chooses to, it's all mood dependent. When he wakes up and I say, "Come on, Arjun, let's do Japji Sahib," sometimes it will be at literally you can't even make out what he's saying. He'll say it so fast. And other times he will sit there and he will, and same with the Vajja Tabla, sometimes he's into it and sometimes he's not. But I just leave it out and I think, you know what, if you want to go and mess around, you do it. And if you don't, fine, I can't sort of keep pushing you. But what kinds of things do you guys do to encourage positive behaviour? Is it just, so with Gurleen, I know we've spoken about Gurleen and Arjun a lot, just because with the others it's probably a little bit easier to manage certain situations, but with children that kind of have these, and I'm so happy, it's not happy, I feel bad for you because I know it's not always easy, but I'm glad to know that I'm not alone. And I know there's loads of people that have commented to say that they can really relate and they're glad that it's not just them. I don't often sort of put it out there about it because it's just, I don't know how to sort of...
She's gone to get the baby, so back in the
morning. I don't know how to articulate it, but it's good to know that. What would you say, what do you do to encourage positive kind of behaviour?
Well, to be honest, we've tried like the reward reward schemes and all that. But we say to them, obviously, they need to kind of be able to visualize something, right? So, if you're going to do this, this is what's up, and start to see something that they're actually going to gain some sort of value from it, and then hoping that eventually they will, do it without that. But then the other side to it is obviously that every time it's kind of like, and we found that as well. I found that as well. You get in the habit of saying that, well, if you do this, you get this every time, and then that turns into a negative. But what we try to do is we try our best to talk to them really, and try to just analyze what they're actually doing and what's actually happened in terms of their behavior, just to try to reinforce it as much as we can, and try to find out why, because that's not what we actually do. We normally just kind of fly off the handle or kind of react in such a way. Sorry.
Hi, is he waking up?
Sorry,
is he awake?
He was dying to go to sleep, so I've just.
That's all right. That's the thing. So with Arjun, I try and really, really reinforce his positive behavior. So when he's done something good, I'll be really extra about. I don't know, the other day when he cut the salad, I was like, oh my gosh, Arjun, this is literally the nicest salad Mummy's eaten. And do you know what? You are so kind because you've just taken away a task from Mummy's to-do list. And I'm so good. And he's like, wow, Mummy, really? Is it really that nice? And I'm like, yeah, it's really that amazing. The thing is, my parents were always, especially my dad, was very encouraging, very loving, very positive, and I really felt like you, I always felt very full of love, because I had that from him, and I want Arjun to have that same kind of feeling of secure. I want him to feel confident and secure, and I feel like sometimes when he acts up, it's because he feels like he's not good enough, or that he's always doing something wrong, or so it's just kind of, I have to be really extra with the It's still not quite there, because he's still, when he gets told off, it's very dramatic, and you always tell me off and I never do anything right, and it's like, oh my God, just 5 minutes ago I told you how good you were. But
it's literally just it's like a tipping point, because it's literally, you can do something with them the whole day, but there will be that one thing that happens and it just resets back again. And then you can be like, oh my God, I've done all of this, and we say to them, oh, you know what, you've been great all day, why is this happening now? So that's the real thing that we have to kind of manage at the time. We have to kind of just forget it all, and then deal with what's going on there, because then we can just it can just go all wrong at that point. We need to kind of remember that as well. And the other thing as well is that like you're saying, like you're praising them, and you're saying you're doing good at this as well. Sometimes we can just, because we're so, as adults, we can get so wrapped up in what we're doing in our own work and etc., our own friends and our Instagram or whatever it is, our phone as well, that we can kind of neglect the fact that they need to hear these things as well. We can, like with everyone, in terms of saying that we love them or whatever it is, to actually say it is something totally different to know that they believe it as well. So we have to be vocal with them in that way, and remind them that they are doing positive things, and it's not that we're always telling them off.
No, and that's the thing. So Arjun's actually very affectionate as well. So it's constantly, Mummy, I love you, I love you, I love my brother. There's nobody else I love more than him, and it's very he's so affectionate. And I'm also very affectionate back to him. He knows, I love a good cuddle, but sometimes I'll be right in the middle of something at work and I'm trying to concentrate and I'm like, just please shush. And he'll take that so badly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't understand that I have to get this done, and I need to get it done because there's a deadline, and you're probably taking that as rejection when that's not. I would love to sit here and cuddle you and tell you how much I love you too, but I can't right now. And it's just, it's tough. Somebody asked a question about sibling jealousy. So I guess like we've touched upon that. How do you guys manage? So you've mentioned Mansimar and Gurleen sometimes don't.
Yeah, you tell us honestly. In terms of sibling rivalry, we've read so much about it. But whatever, when we talk to people like yourself, so you're a sister and you're talking about being sisters and things like that. Whenever we kind of complain or offload and say they're doing this and whatever, and people always say, oh, we were exactly like that, but we get on great now and we've grown up, so we're kind of holding on to the fact that we hope it's the same.
Seriously.
We used to fight up until we got married. Without bursting your bubble. But honestly, especially with the twins, it was interesting because they used to fight a lot, but you dare say anything about any one of us, you've got to deal with all three of us. We've always been like that. We're very close, but we're very fiery as well. We're still like that a little bit, to be honest. But yeah, it's true. I mean, I think it's kind of normal. I don't know, Benji, how you were with your sister, if you used to...
Well, I think because I was so much younger than everybody, they kind of did a lot to me. Damaged me for life.
Offload.
And here we go. Yeah, we're so close now. And we can relate, she's somebody that I can basically tell anything to and know that it's not going to be judged and that I can rely on her. With Simmer and Gurleen, I think there's always been some sort of like rivalry between the two of them, and I think it's completely natural, 100%. Yeah. When Mansimar had the incident last summer with the racists in the park, and we had the BBC come over and the ITV, and she was going here and there, and she was getting so much attention everywhere we went. Strangers were coming up to us and talking to and saying how wonderful she is and things like that. All of a sudden, we saw a real big change in Gurleen, and I think because we were really focusing on helping Mansimar through that time, we didn't realise the effect it would have on Gurleen. It didn't even come in our minds. We are still dealing with it, if I'm honest with you, because the way she is now towards Mansimar is actually quite spiteful. And sometimes some of the things that she does to her, says to her, really worries me. But at the same time, that they get on like a house on fire as well at times. So it's so hard to understand what they're going through. But I just try to, when we sit down at the dinner table together, Gurleen's always the one to say, right, what should we talk about? And she always says, what are the things that you've done today? What you're thankful for. So one of the things I always say to them when they're sitting in that kind of, when we're in that, that time and atmosphere is, we call each other, we call our Team Khalsa. So I'll always say, we are Team Khalsa. Team Khalsa, is there for one another. Someone from Team Khalsa wins, everybody wins. If someone fails, everybody fails. Like I try to talk to them as like we're one, so they don't think of each other as individuals, and it's the point where they need to be. So it's more for Gurleen because she's the one who's going through that. But at the same time, and Simmer sometimes can be quite.
She does not help the situation sometimes because we always say to her, remember, you are half her age, you are 10 and she is 5. And sometimes she'll talk to her in such a language that Gurleen just clearly will not understand it, and she'll undermine her and she'll do things like that. And we'll know what she's doing. We can hear it because obviously, parents hear everything, right? And see everything.
Yeah. But at the same time, I just think it's just all a phase. I think they're going to grow out of it as they get older. Sisters especially, I think.
It's interesting because even with Sarjan and Arjun, so Sarjan obviously, he's been involved in campaigns, and we've had photographers come here, we've had filming done here, and it's always very much about Sarjan. And he said to me once, he said, I wish I had Down syndrome so that I could do all of this. And I felt so bad, and I was just like, Arjun, you're his brother, like, you are, that's why I try and make everything about both of them. You know, even when we did the big posters at the Smargam, he was like, oh, Sergeant's on all of the posters. Like, that's when he said that thing about, I wish I had Down syndrome. And I said, but Arjun, look, your name's there. It says my brother. And he's like, but that's just one line. And I'm just like, it's very natural for children to feel, you know, like, why am I not in the limelight? It's so natural. And just kind of, I completely relate to that. And then he'll have a little bit of Mansimmer in him, because he'll be like, oh, Sergeant, you don't even know what this is. You don't even know what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, 100%.
But again, it's natural, isn't it?
Gurleen's been able to tell us it as well. She's openly said, you know, Mansimmer is like this. You know, everybody does this with her. Everybody likes her. She's clever, like this. And Corbin, he's cute. He's like this, that, and the other. And this is before. This is when we were pregnant with Saib Singh. So Saib hadn't even been born yet. So she's like, there's another one coming as well. Like, you know, so like, where do I stand?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that. But I really admire her for being so strong in being able to tell us that as well. And that's good.
That's a massive thing, yeah. And I think I think children with these big personalities, it is a great thing. It's true, because you think, as difficult as it is in their childhood to manage it and to channel it correctly, that's a challenge for me, is to channel those emotions in the right way. It is true, as personalities like that do change the world.
Yeah.
Personalities that are literally like, whoa, I don't care what you've got to say. This is what I've got to say. But
they'll get their point across. Like, no matter what, they will be heard.
Yeah, it's the same. And I think with my two, because Sergeant's naturally, he'll go into a room and will go right into the middle of the room, and he will go around to everyone and say hello.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's not embarrassed. Doesn't care whether he knows you or not. He will literally go everywhere. And whereas Arjun, he'll hide behind us. He won't even say hello. And then he'll be like, Arjun, you're being rude. And he's like, I'm shy. Then I'm like, well, naturally people are going to talk to Sergeant more, aren't they? Because you're not talking, and he just doesn't get it.
Oh, I always say that as well.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but I guess it's part and parcel of being parents, isn't it? Just managing all these different little personalities, and they're so fascinating, aren't they? These kids are.
I always say they're little messengers of Bible, but the thing is, you know, you can read all the parenting books and watch, you know, follow all the parenting blogs, but at the end of the day, as a parent, trusting your own instincts and knowing that you made this child. And this child chose you, you know, these souls, they choose their parents, you know, and there's a reason for that. So, you know, there are going to be mistakes along the way, but you know what, we just do a dasta Guruji and say, you know what, as long as you keep them in love with you, we'll know that you'll take care of them. And that's the key. But there's no right or wrong answer, definitely.
Definitely trying your best, and, you know, doing the best for the kids, as only you know your child. Nobody knows your child.
No,
you do, and and you have that from when they, you know, before you become a parent, you're worried about things. But it's just like you can only explain it when it happens to you. You just know what they need and when they need it and how to give it to them. You just know that.
And I love how you're so. You know, you are really open about, you know, how you're feeling, and you know, and that's what I love, you know, hearing you talk about.
I think it's absolutely important to be very open and honest about your feelings. Oh, he is so cute. He's adorable.
He's got that milk smell. Say that.
He just slots in so perfectly in your family. It's like he's always been there. It's crazy. He's so cute. It is so important to just have that open and honest nature in the house. I think Breatham's very quiet compared to me, and he doesn't talk that much about feelings and things like that. So I'm kind of double dose with, you know, talking about how I'm feeling, and that's made mummy very sad. And I'll apologize as also if I end up shouting, then I'll say, Arjun, that was a really bad choice mummy made. And the same way that, Arjun, I pull you up when you make a bad choice, can you please remind mummy, because sometimes mummy will make mistakes as well. But I've noticed the more time that I spend with him one-on-one, or just sometimes doing what he wants to do, he feels very unheard a lot of the time. So it'll be like, Mummy, please play Hot Wheels with me. And I'm like, Arjun, I've just got to make the roti because you're going to get really hungry. And if I don't make it, that's going to... And he just doesn't, but to him, again, it's like, oh, well, you're not playing with me now. Like, it's that...
And so I remember it as well.
Yeah, and he'll...
Hold on to it. And then he'll remind you of it, like tomorrow or 2 days' time. Oh, you did play Hot Wheels with me. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
It's just remembering to kind of, make that time for them. It's true, we're not going to get this time back. And I try and do a little bit of work with him when he's in the mood in the morning before lunchtime. And then I say to him, look, after lunch, then you can just play. You can go in the garden, you can fix something, you can build something, you can do what you want, just no TV until 4. So we try and do a little bit in the morning as well. And what I was doing last week for a couple of days, a lot of people ask me, oh, why it's Easter holidays? And I said, the thing is, he hasn't done enough work to justify just doing nothing for 2 weeks. He just hasn't done enough. And I didn't even tell him it was the holidays, to be honest. He was none the wiser. Yeah. But what we do is we just wake up, get ready, do our bath, get ready, go downstairs, have breakfast. And then I'll say to him, look, let's just read one book on your, school page. So must say do that. And then I'll say, right, what are you interested in today? What do you feel like learning about? It can be anything. I'll stick on a YouTube video that's about 15 minutes long. Watch it. You've got to write 3 facts about whatever it is that you've learned. And then I'll say, right, you're done with that. Let's do a couple of spellings. And then if he's in the mood, he'll go and do a little bit of maths with them on the computer. And then literally that's it. That's on a good day.
Yeah.
But that's what kind of works for us. But yeah, like I said, every day is different. And I think managing a child that's got such a fiery personality sometimes as well, I have to pick my battles because I am trying to work at the same time. And, I had to move my, I was really struggling actually last week. I don't know if you saw my post, but I ended up having to move my computer upstairs because I just felt like I was making loads of mistakes at work. And then, it was just constant noise around me. But the predicament I have is I can't really leave Sergeant alone. And although Breatham's downstairs, he's also got work. Yeah. So today I came upstairs and Arjun sat in my office with me for a couple of hours when Benji did the class with him. And actually, removing myself from the dining room and being in my own space just to do my work, even for a little while, it really made me feel refreshed. It was the first time since this whole lockdown thing that I've actually been away from them for some time. Yeah. And it felt really nice. When I went downstairs after, I just felt like a different person. I was actually in a good mood to make roti, do the dishes, and I was fine because I felt like I'd had a little bit of breathing space. Yeah. And you need that, isn't it? Because I just find, especially with Arjun, I'll get frustrated because he's not reading. He'll get frustrated that I'm trying to make him read. I'll get frustrated when he does read and he's sounding out words that I know he knows how to say, but he's just sounding them out. And I'm like, why are you doing that? And then it's just not helpful. Yeah. And I don't want it to destroy our relationship either, to be quite honest, So yeah, I think that's what's worked for us. You've shared some really helpful tips actually that I'm gonna speak to Breatham about. Actually, we know Arjun's triggers. It's generally when he doesn't get his own way, which is tough to deal with. But I think anticipating when that's going to happen and almost, putting in place options or, whatever it is that we need to do, we need to start doing that a little bit more. But again, it's that time pressure. Every time there's a time pressure in a certain situation, that's when it goes wrong. But when you're calm...
Yeah, I'm sure you've tried all the different types of reward charts and all that kind of... I mean, we've tried so many different types of reward charts. We even spoke to her teacher about it, and she gave the suggestion of, like, marble jar. So every time she does something good, she gets a marble. When she gets 10 marbles, then she gets a treat. And she just doesn't respond to any of them.
He responds to, you know, the I don't know if you've seen it. It's the one where you start on green grass, and you go to blue skies, and you go to sunshine, and then over the rainbow, and then pot of gold. He kind of responds to that depending on his mood.
We're willing to give it a try.
Yeah.
That one, he loves that one, actually. But this morning I said to him, he said, do I get to pick whatever I want after 4 o'clock? Because yesterday Sergeant watched so much of his TV. I said, Arjun, I tell you what, if you get to Pot of Gold, you can pick all of the programs. That's it. He went mad. He said, but you told me that I could pick everything. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. You're right. I did say that. But I'm just saying, but I don't want to have to get to Pot of Gold. He's already anticipating that he's not going to be able to get there.
Yeah, that is good thing.
Yeah, but you've done it the last 2 days. Yeah. No, but you're saying that I have to, and it just, so in that situation, it didn't quite work.
Really because I always think to myself, she's already got in her head that she's going to get some sort of rejection or some kind of failure, or I can't do that. Or, you know, if we're all doing reading, or if we're doing like colouring together, she'll always say, mine isn't as good as everybody else's. You know, she'll say things like that. And I always think to myself, like, what have I done to make her feel that she's just not good enough? And how much praise can I give her, or how much reinforcement can I give her to snap her out of that? And it's just something that's just going to stay with her, because I personally think that she's brought it from another life, you know. Something.
You know what? I can really relate to that, because no matter how good he does, how much praise I give him, he's very similar.
Yeah.
He will continuously say, oh, that's not very good, is it? That's not very nice, is it? And if you say anything, even if I try and suggest, oh, Arjun, you know your letter G, it's meant to go to halfway, not all the way to the top.
Yeah.
All my G's are rubbish. I don't write good G's, do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'm just saying. So you have to be quite, he's very sensitive. Yeah, and we're constantly praising him. But you're right, Benji, maybe it is from, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can completely relate, though, to that feeling of, what have I not done enough of? Because I'm constantly going on and on and on and on about how good he is and how great he is at X, Y, Z. And, you know, one day they're going to go out into the real big wide world where they're not going to have people constantly telling them all these great things. It's
for us as parents, we just do what we feel is right. So with me, I'm just going to continue telling Gurleen when she's doing great things. One tip her teacher gave, because I shared this with her teacher before the lockdown, and she said to me, when she does something, so for example, if she's doing some independent writing, which she does every morning, and you know she spells something which sounds like the word, but it's not spelt right. She said, don't correct it. Don't tell her it's wrong. Just tell her that actually sounds like the word. So well done.
Yeah.
And she was saying things like that to me. And I thought, oh, okay. And the way I am, I was naturally kind of going, actually, that's really good effort, but you spelt it wrong. So that straight away.
That's what they remember. Yes. Yeah. So I guess anybody would, though, right? Like if somebody said to you, oh, that's really good, but... You just kind of remember the bit after, don't you? It's kind of human nature. But I also had, I spoke to Arjun's teacher as well, actually, a few months ago, because he was getting really charged. And I said, is he doing this at school? She said, no, he's an absolute gem at school. And that's when I thought, okay, thank God he's not doing it at school, because my mother was a teacher, and she said to me, she said, he feels safe at home to let out his emotions. I said, okay, that's fine. But the teacher did say to me, she said, one of the things that you need to think about is if you want to pull him up on something that he might have done wrong, or, you know, his behaviour is not being quite right. I think there'd been an incident. His friend had come over and he'd ended up in a bit of a squabble with his friend over something or another. What he'd said to his friend was, you can have a piece of pineapple. And the friend said, can I have more? And I butted in and said, yeah, of course you can. And Arjun got really upset because in his head, that was his tray of pineapple. We'd bought it the day before. And he just kicked off. And I was like, oh, this is really bad. You know, like, this is your friend. Like, stop. Anyway, she said to me after, she said, you've got to understand that he felt like he was saying something nice by offering his friend some watermelon. And when his friend asked for more, you butted in and answered for him, and actually you kind of belittled him. And then when you tried to tell him off and calm him down, he felt embarrassed. Yeah. And actually I thought, oh my gosh, it's so true. Like, nobody wants to be told off in front of others. She said, next time, just kind of take him to the side. And I guess it's the same as even telling them off in front of their siblings. Just kind of take them to the side and, have a quiet word with them. Yeah. I've said to Arjun now, so there's a few things that he likes of mine. Like, I've got this handbag, which has got like a chain on the, as the strap, and he loves playing with that chain. I don't know why. So I said to him, right, keep that bag in your bedroom to play with the chain. If you feel angry or stressed, I want you to leave downstairs. I want you to go upstairs and just sit on your bed and just play with that chain, or just sit in your room on your bed. And he'll say to me, can I play with my toys? And I say, do what you want, but just go in your bedroom. Just remove yourself from this situation before he sees red, and that's it. There's no reasoning with him. And that's helped. And sometimes he'll sort of build a den or things like that, in his room, and he'll escape to his den. That we found quite helpful. I think at school they have a thing called the thinking tree. And we did try that at home when we first started this lockdown thing, but because it's in the living room and we've got an open plan living room, it didn't work.
I love your living room, by the way.
It's awesome.
Thank you. You should see the state of it though. because it's an open space, it's just like toys have yacked up everywhere. But no, I'm
talking about encouraging Arjun to kind of leave the room. That's exactly what I do with Gurleen. So what I do with Gurleen is, when I know she's beginning to hit that point and I can't bring her back, then I'll say to her, I think you should go, and I think that the new Gurleen should come. And so she associates that, okay, at the moment, because she, even today at lunchtime, she said, I'm just bad. And I'm just born naughty. That's what she said. I'm born naughty. And we said to her, no, you are not born naughty. Gurpreet was like saying, you're connected to Vaibu when you're born. How can you be naughty? And we said, the things that you choose to do are naughty, but you are not naughty. You are good. Yeah. And
try to separate the action from her.
Yeah, we don't want her to associate that this is what I am. We say, what you've done is what is not right.
Yeah.
So when we
we'll have Arjun. Go on, Benji.
I was just going to say, so in terms of like leaving that, so when she's in that room where she's about to explode or where she's having this incident, we encourage her to leave the room, and we'll say to her, can you tell the new Gurleen to come? And then she knows, okay, this person that's here right now, that's not the actual Gurleen. The new Gurleen is the actual real Gurleen. So we associate that when she's making those right decisions and being calm and collected, that's the real Gurleen. And then the other Gurleen is just someone who comes temporarily. So she'll literally leave the room, calm herself down, come back, and she's like, hi everyone, and we'll be like, hi Gurleen, and we'll all start afresh.
Oh, that's so good.
And
Arjun will go upstairs, start throwing stuff off his bed and making a right racket up there. And, oh my God, give me strength.
Yeah. When I hear it, then she does really respond, because she knows, okay, you know what, she acknowledges I've done something wrong. I've made the wrong choice and I reacted isn't right. Now because I'm being asked to leave, when this new person comes, that's me, and that's the real me. And so I feel like when I was talking to a teacher, and a teacher was saying, every time you do that, a little bit of her confidence grows a tiny, tiny bit more, because she's realizing when I'm coming back and everything's gone, when I'm acting like this, I'm good, and the actions I'm committing are good, and everybody's fine with me at that point. So I hope that in the long run it works.
I
think maybe we'll try something like that, just associating it as almost two kind of people, like this is the sad Arjun, and this is like not that being sad is a bad thing, as in
but it's different. It's what it is. Because when they're getting themselves in that mess, they're causing themselves distress. And for parents, we don't want to see that. Also, it's stressful for us, and for the rest of the family. So it's just about it's coping mechanisms as parents, isn't it? So
we can say to them as well that we had so much planned today, but we weren't able to do it because this is what happened.
Yeah,
close everything out. But something we used to do, maybe we can actually start to bring it back. We used to do something called safe zone, where we used to, put the onus on them to kind of flag up whenever they need to talk to us about something, or something had gone wrong or something. We say, call a safe zone. We can all sit around and we can discuss what's happened, and then no one's to blame, but we just leave it there and we move on.
And Simma would emphasize it a lot as well. And Simma really, I think because of her age, she really got the concept of this safe zone. And she would say, we've always had this thing in our house where we'd say, if you tell the truth, no matter what you've done, you'll never be in trouble. But if you tell a lie and you try to hide it, there will be consequences. Yeah. So Simma would say, can I call a safe zone? And we'll say, yeah. And she'll say, I didn't do this, or I did do this. And we'll be, and no matter how much I would want to tell her off for it, the rule is she can't put it off because she's told the truth. Yeah. So then being honest, really have to control me and be like, you can't say anything, and Gurpreet will be like, well done, you've told us the truth. Well, you know that, you shouldn't have done that, and this is the reason why, and blah, 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 blah. And she gets it. Gurleen, she didn't quite get it. She would just still be scared, I'm going to get in trouble.
We used to have to force her to kind of just say, come on, encourage her to, let's do the safe zone, and then let's get it dealt with, and then let's move on. That's something, to be honest, we've kind of stopped doing it now, but we should kind of get back to doing it. It's one of those things when you introduce something, then after a while you kind of just goes out the window.
But you constantly kind of got to switch that up as well, because the kids kind of get a little bit bored with certain things as well, isn't it? So just making sure that we
reintroducing it. But
you shared some really great ideas, actually. I'm going to try some of those. I think I found as well with Arjun, so somebody I work with, actually, she suggested this to me. She said when he gets angry, if you can, get him into an embrace and squeeze him and ask him to squeeze you back, almost squeezing out the anger. Sometimes it works. Sometimes he's like, get away from me. I do not want to come near you. And also, since they were babies, both of them, I've always found, this might be something that I actually is psychologically good for me, I don't know, but I find that if I embrace them and our hearts are kind of on top of each other and I can feel their heart beating and they can feel mine, just that rhythm kind of calms them down, calms us both down.
Yeah.
And I always believe that is the most familiar sound, whether they know it or not. That's the sound they've known for the longest, is their mother's heartbeat. So just to kind of try and regulate, especially with Arjun, it works quite well if I'm able to get him in a cuddle, to just say, just shh, don't talk for a minute. I know you're upset. I know you're sad. And I just try and get him to follow me, and just, that's another thing. I think quite a few people have spoken about what they do. I'm just quickly scrolling through. I've lost half the comments on the other line. But hopefully we've been able to cover. It's been really interesting and actually really comforting to know that some of the challenges that we have at home, it's not just us. And despite what, and it, with social media, it's not that we're trying to portray a perfect image. It's not that. It's just sometimes there's no time to share everything. And second of all, it's articulating it in the right way. I'm just trying to, Bajana, I'm trying to get it across in the right sort of. Oh, he's so cute. How have they been with Sahib? How's Gurleen been with Sahib?
She's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to be really close, the two of them. Yeah.
And
I think the way Simma mothers Gorbin, I can see Gurleen mothering him like that. And I think that one thing that's really worked, I don't know if this is a positive thing or not, but when she's making a decision that is not positive, I always say to her, you know what, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for Sahib.
Yeah.
And she'll retreat. Whatever she's doing, she'll retreat. So
this is what Arjun's like with Sarjan, in terms of he loves Sarjan almost more than he loves himself. So he will, that's like his thing, the thing that kind of keeps him going. Same with you, Benji. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it works right now. And, the love between them, it's a beautiful thing. It's just making sure that they're constantly, encouraged, and that love that we have for them is reinforced. But like you said, maybe it's just some of these things are, like all children are different. Not all of them are going to have the same confidence. Not all of them are going to have the same temperament or the way in which they deal with things. I think we've just kind of got to go with it, haven't we, and just muddle through. But it's so good to know we're not alone. There's loads of people that have said that they can relate. Kiran Arjun had a little meltdown yesterday because he wanted. So I don't know if you saw on Kiran Benji's profile that they did this amazing all-inclusive holiday type thing. So I made the mistake of showing Arjun it. So I was like, look at this, Arjun. And he's like, I want that, mummy. And I was like, okay, we'll do it. When I get the chance, we'll do it. He woke up yesterday, he's like, I've decided today I want to do the holiday thing. And I'm like, you can't just decide it. Like, we can't do it today. It wasn't even warm yesterday, I don't think. But yeah, he was a little bit sad about that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That was his schedule. I just wanted to say one thing, Benji. I just wanted to say something. And what you were saying about like parenting and blogging on Instagram and things like that. It's really, like you said, Hannah. It's not about showing that we're perfect. It's about showing that we're real. Yeah, because the thing is, all of us parents out there, we all know what the ups and downs of parenting is. You can't kid another parent by showing them something that just doesn't exist. So it's not about showing, all glossy photos, etc. It's about showing what's real and something that you share with your followers. You share the good times and you share the bad times with them. You share the ups and downs with them. It's not a pick and choose thing where you think, okay, I'm going to share this with them today, but something bad happens tomorrow and you keep that to yourself and you don't share it with them because, that's not real. And like I said, it's not a pick and choose thing.
That's why I love basically following you since even before I kind of changed my account over and made it an open account and really going full throttle with sharing my kind of parenting kind of tips and challenges. I used to love just watching how candid you were about with the kids. In doing that, you're helping other people and helping other mothers as well to realise that it's not all perfect and there are going to be days that we're going to be challenged, but we're like we're a family, we're an Instagram family now, where we can rely on each other and turn to each other for support because we know that.
It's so true. And I feel exactly the same about you guys. I love your family, and I take so much inspiration from your like day-to-day kind of approach. I just get a sense of calm, and I just love the way you speak with love to the children, and just you treat them like grown-ups. You don't sort of talk down to them or baby them. You speak to them like they're grown-ups, and I love that. And I think I really look up to you guys in terms of master the art of just being calm and just kind of No, I know. I'm sure you have. Ethan is the same, and it's because they don't have to be with them constantly. I'm telling you. But no,
you're giving the secrets away now.
But no, it's great when there's when you've got a balance in your in your parenting. I mean, we're very different in the way we do parent, but there is good cop, bad cop, and he's generally a bit calmer than I am. So he will sort of say to me, "Harps, can you just leave the room, please?" And I'll be like, "Okay, I'm out of here." But yeah, no, it's good to share and talk about these things because it can feel quite lonely. Like, sometimes, like you, Benji, when I'm having a day with Arjun, and I just think, what is there something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? What? I don't want him to feel like this, and I don't want him to grow up like this, and then. But just knowing that it's not only him, it's, we all face challenges for different reasons, and it's important to talk about it. And
like you said,
but you guys have been
honest about it.
Definitely, yeah, and keeping it real. I'm not a perfect parent.
Of course.
The kids have their moments. That we're all human at the end of the day, isn't it? But you guys have shared such brilliant tips. I'm going to be implementing some of those for sure.
Of course, and that's what it's about. It's about, you know, what we're doing as our family, what you're doing as your family.
Yeah.
Many others out there that are doing it. It's not about saying that, okay, look, we are doing this and we are telling you how to do this or anything like that. It's about other people being able to do the same things that we're doing, and even if not do better than we're doing. That's the beauty of it. It's not about saying I'm doing this and
I'm the best.
It's not about that. And it can seem like that sometimes, but it's not like that. It's just about opening up a dialogue and having a conversation and saying, look, let's talk about this. And that's it.
And the thing is that what's amazing about our generation is that our parents, they came to this country to build a life. They didn't really have this conscious parenting that we have now, where we're really conscious about what is our child watching, what is our child wearing, how is that going to affect their mental health? How is that? They didn't think about those things. Their thing was just keeping a roof over our head and getting us an education and you know, giving us love as much as they can while they're doing that. With us, you know, they didn't have, you know, they couldn't go to, you know, their Bananis and the Chinese and saying, look, I'm having an issue, my child's always having tantrums. They had to hide those things.
Yeah.
Because, you know, then they'll get judged that they're not good enough and all these kinds of things, and they've got issues in their house. I
do think where we are fortunate to have all these connections and, you know, have all this kind of access to information, but it can also be a double-edged sword. And I think it's so important. So I've had to be really conscious of, you know, especially with Sargent's development, I think I've had to be really conscious about what I'm watching and being really mindful of, okay, helps, don't compare yourself to that, because, you know, the fact that he's at home and we're trying to master his walking and, you know, we're doing other things and it's okay. I think sometimes the way our parents did it is just so simple and it wasn't overthought. You know, if we were playing up like that, and I'm sure I did, I was like that, it'd be like, oh, just be quiet and get on with it kind of thing, you know, whereas us, we're just, oh my gosh, you know, what's wrong with him? Have I done something wrong? And we really dwell. It's good to think, but it's how much we think. But it's great to have all these connections, and especially during this lockdown, just having, you know, just being able to, I have a love-hate relationship with social media, as you know.
Same, me too.
Yeah, but now it's just so nice to be able to click a little button and know that there's a whole, literally a family on Instagram that, you know, you can share the highs and lows with, and you're not alone at all. I've had loads of DMs about, I'm really struggling with this and I'm really struggling with that, and, you know, and others that, you know, this is working really well for me and this isn't working so great for me, and we're all in it together, and it's great that we can learn off each other. I think that's the main thing. But thank you guys so much for joining.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I will definitely save this live anyway, but it's been really great, really informative, really insightful, and I'm really grateful. Thank you guys for joining as well. I hope you found it useful. Yeah, I better go and see if he's still awake.
Yeah. We better go see the kids as well.
Tucked him in there.
We've got to make.
All right, take care.